8 o'clock in the morning, and I have flown for 6 days in a row. Somehow I just want to keep the streak alive, so if I get this puppy in the air, it will be 7. And that'll be the first time I've ever flown every day of a week. It's, you know, Friday to Thursday, but it still counts, it's a week. This is my friend's wing, the MacPara Blaze GT, 23 meter. I've flown it once before. I did this awesome review, but the footage was lost. Let's launch it again. We'll talk some more. So it's not that I can't launch this wing. I've done it before and it worked out fine. It's just that it's a change in the recipe. Anytime I change something, my wing, motor, whatever, it makes me really nervous. It doesn't help that there's no wind at all today. Yeah, listen to me. I'm like pre-making excuses. Let's see if I can get this thing going. I've checked the lines like super carefully. Change the recipe, so it still tastes good. So the last time I did this review, I kind of tested how aggressive it got. And my opinion was, I was doing the review for a pilot with 15 hours. 15 hours is a guy who knows how to fly, but, you know, just entering intermediate, maybe I'd say, maybe still a beginner. And it was like, all right, is the MacPara Blaze GT a good wing for that guy? Not just is it a good wing at all. Is it a good wing at all? I like it. I like it. It wants to bank even more than my own wing does. That's fine if that's what you're looking for. For a brand new pilot, he's probably looking for something that's stable. One of the things I tested was, hey, if I put this thing in a bank, right? Let's get it to like oscillate some. See, now I'm turning. And then just do nothing. Does it calm down on its own? And the answer is yes. Yeah, if you just have no inputs and you go hands up, then the wing will chill on your behalf. So that I like. Some wings, they oscillate even when you do nothing. Forget the idea of correcting your oscillation. Some wings, if you just go straight, they'll work their way into a bigger and bigger oscillation until you have to fix it yourself. I've actually never flown a wing that is that hot. People do. People who want to, you know, bank and yank constantly, that's what they're looking for. But this guy, that's not what he's looking for. So anyway, long story short, you go hands up, it will settle itself down. Not as quickly as like a MacPara Muse or an Ozone Mojo Power or one of those really early wings, but this thing will chill for you. Another thing I tested was big ears, and it didn't work. So I'm gonna show you what's up. Look, the farmer's farming. I like farming. I think it's cool. I never did until I got some land, and now I'm like subscribed to the farming subreddit. I'm always checking out what people have to say about like current events, and Trump is getting rid of a bunch of farming subsidies, and you know, there's some controversy. People have different opinions, and I just think agriculture is a really neat business. I like all businesses really, but you know, these are just, whatever. I like farming. I never thought I would find it interesting, but now I do. Anyway, I need to get some altitude and practice big ears, so I'm going to try that. So pulling big ears is a descent technique. It helps you lose altitude if that's what you need. On my wing, my Speedster 2, it does great with big ears. They reinflate nicely, they pull great, it goes straight. I love it. On this wing, it didn't go so great. What the I just hit some turbulence. It didn't go so great, and I'll show you what I mean. I did it twice in case maybe like I was messing it up, but here, grab these outside A's. Let's push this towards the top. It kind of fought me. See how they wiggle around like that, and it's no good? It's up. Now it's turning. And there, I'm 90 degrees turned. And I mean, look, I'm not the world's greatest pilot. I don't pretend to be. But I've pulled big ears like 20 20 times now, and every time I do it on my Speedster, it's a success, and every time I do it on this wing, it goes like that. So, what do you say? It doesn't love big ears. Now, it did reinflate pretty quickly this time, which I like. There's something called shark nose on a lot of newer wings, and what it does is that the profile of the opening. Do you see how in the blue part there's an opening? Well, Ozone came up with it. They came up with shark nose, and the way that opening is on that wing, it kind of rams air into the wing. Lots of people they made it so that anyone could use it. Dudek uses it. A lot of people use it. I can't name them all. But the point is, on a shark nose wing, the thing stays really inflated. It's like a pressurized beach ball, whereas other wings are like a deflated beach ball, you know? Like, the deflated is an exaggeration. But the point is that when it's really full like that, the big ears spring back to life with enthusiasm. And if you, like, say, do bad wing overs and don't pull enough outside brake, that pressurization in the wing makes the wingtip collapse either less likely or reinflate really nicely. And I guess I've grown accustomed to the shark nose. And now, like, I only want wings that have it. It's not hype in my head. It really does move up there. And when you hit turbulence, rather than like small tip collapses fluttering around and stuff, it stays solid like a fixed wing above your head. It still moves. It's not like there's no turbulence. It just moves as a unit altogether. And I really like that about like shark nose wings, or shark nose profiled wings. So let's go somewhere else. Alright, if there's one thing this wing loves, it loves to yank and bank. So let's give it what it's asking for. Let's do a little acro. You guys down? I'm down. So I'm going to do asymmetric spirals. My wing overs keep getting bigger, and this you just barely pull it and the wingtip is on the horizon. Oh, she likes to play. That one wasn't what I was going for, but I started at like 3,000 feet. I'm going to reposition and do some more. I'm not sure if it's the pilot or the wing, but with my wing, I have an easy time like timing it, like feeling that swing at the bottom, pulling it, trying to keep my asymmetric spirals kind of vertical. This wing really wants to get into like a rounder spiral. Just seems like every time I mess with it, like, let's go rounder. Like, dude, no, we're trying to do like big loopy asymmetric spirals, not round ones. But that's what it likes. I don't know. It could be me. All right. Let's try to the right this time. Maybe I'll do better. So far, better. Nice. That's all right. All right. Let's call that a win. I really like starting my day off with a flight. By the way, that's my house with the with the torn up backyard, the lot in the middle, and the circle in the front. It's just like I am so awake right now. I am so alive. I couldn't be happier. Like what an awesome way to like kick off the day. You know, it just like, it's cool. I like starting my day with a flight. It's freaking awesome. There is no better way to get up and get going. I've been doing a lot of sunset flights, especially in the winter because the morning's so cold. And I like sunset flights. I see sunsets, they're beautiful, and it's like, I was actually a part of that. I was in the sunset up in the sky. But blue skies are nice looking too. It's a little bumpy. You know, the bumps don't mess me up so much because it's like a 1 on the bump scale. But they do a little bit get in my head. Like, all right, what kind of sink and lift should I be expecting as I, you know, come in for this landing? See, right here, I'm hitting some sink, coming down quicker. Yesterday when I landed, I hit all this lift, overshot where I intended to land, and then it had this sink. And I stayed on my feet, but it was hard. It was like jumping off a bar stool or something. So I see there's a little wind on the ground now. It looks like it's picked up since I've launched. And that's actually helpful. One, I really mostly know what direction to land. And two, you know, it's like free airspeed. If the wind is going 3 miles an hour, then instead of having me land at 10, I get to land at 7, roughly. So I'm trying to figure out which way the wind is going predominantly, because it looks like it's changing about 90 degrees, the Stinger. Yeah, it is blowing me around. Normally I do like spot landings where I don't use any throttle and try and pick my spot from really high. I could do that today. It would be good exercise. It's always good exercise to do that. But another part of me is like, chill, Woody, you know, you're hitting lift and sink. Why don't you just give yourself every advantage? The reason would be if it's an emergency landing, I won't have every advantage. That's the point of the practice, really. Coming in long. I think I'm still too high. See, I don't like my setup here. I'm using throttle to hell. No, I don't need it. I'm good. I'm high. That's okay. It's okay. Let's come in for this landing. Sink, sink, sink! Sorry, I landed your wing a little bit on the nose, Tim. The ground was slippery, and I was light, so my feet were like... I've been landing that way lately. Like my favorite way to land is just to sort of skid in on my feet. I even intentionally wear smooth bottom shoes so I can do it. Today I did it by accident. I was just real light, and I was adding flare, and it did it to me. Whatever. Hey, if I land on my feet, nailed it. So I'm going to walk my Paramotor back to the garage. I'll pick up the golf cart, and we'll pack up the wing. I am alive. Not like I'm surprised to be alive, but like I'm alive and happy, and I kicked off my day. So I hope you guys have as good a day as I am. Enjoy the outro.
Hey, Future Woody here. So there's more to this story. This footage is like a month old. So my friend decided, against my advice, to buy the wing, and it looks like I was wrong because he really likes it. For me, how a wing behaves like in an acromat, or how well it handles heavy turbulence, those are big deals for me. Like, I want to know, like, what happens if I take this thing to the Icarus race? What happens if I try to do big wing overs or get inverted on it? He had a different problem to solve. He wanted a wing that had nice inflation and launch characteristics that would take him somewhere. He wanted to do cross-country, especially cross-country in nice weather. That's his flying style, and this wing has been well suited for it. Prior to this, he flew a Muse 3, a MacPara Muse 3. And he liked that wing, and it's one of the easiest wings to launch. You almost can't mess it up. It's great, and it's a great place to start. But the challenge is it's slow. So I'm making up numbers here, but let's say this wing goes 20 miles an hour. It's not uncommon to find a 15 mile an hour wind aloft, which means that he's going 5 miles an hour over the ground. The new wing goes like 35. And even though that's only like, less than double, when you have a 15 mile an hour headwind, your ground speed goes from 5 to 20. And that's a big difference. Now he's quadruple the speed. Now he can go places on days when he couldn't previously go places. And he's playing around and doing, I guess, what you call very mild wing overs or maybe oscillations, just sort of banking and enjoying that. And he's exploring that a touch. But I think I reviewed this wing with Woody priorities, which were how does it do with acro? What is it like with asymmetric spirals? What is it like with wing overs? What is it like on days when a lot of people wouldn't fly because it's too turbulent and bumpy? And if I thought it with Tim priorities, maybe I would have had a different conclusion. Maybe I'd have said like, hey, how does this wing do when, you know, on a launch, and how are we straight and level? How fast is it? Because it solved the problems that he wanted. He wanted to be able to go somewhere even when there was some wind aloft. So anyway, that's the Act 3. He got this wing, and he really likes it.
Multi-million-dollar deals got $1 million deal. When I was younger, I would wonder how $1 million feel. And for real, it feel like I ain't even broke a seal. Cause when you drop hits, they want you to pay